Welcome back, traders, to today's video, swing trading technical analysis for USDJPY. In this analysis as well, we're also going to be looking at all the other currency pairs that may have a relationship with USDJPY. So we'll also be looking at all the other currency pairs that may have a relationship with USDJPY, and we're going to go through that. So this video is going to be a little bit long. So with that said, let's get straight into it. So the last video that we did on USDJPY, we had this trend line put in. We had a possible area for entries, right? This is this level right here, and we're looking at 141.880, right? On condition price came from where it is down here. Now price is looking like it wants to come down right now, okay? But there is a barrier at this level right here, and the level that we're talking about is sitting in between 146.943 and 145.002. So this is the barrier, and this is a low volume node area right here, okay? So at the moment, price has gone into it, I believe it's gone into a couple of times, right? It looks like about 6 times it's gone into it, but he's always moved away from it, right? So on Friday last week was the last time it went into this low volume node area, and now it's moving away, but it looks like he wants to head back into it, right? So if you was to look at it on an hour, you can see that we clearly have a break of structure in this area right here, right? Actually, let me use this. You can see we have a break of structure in this area right here, right? Where price has come out of the channel, and looks like it wants to break down, but it's come back up again for a revisit, and now it looks like it's heading down, but it's also formed a channel in this area up here as well. If you was to look at that on a higher time frame, on lower time frame, sorry. So you might actually be able to get away with it on an hour. Yes, we can actually get away with it on an hour, right? So you can see here, this is the first ascending channel. We've had a break, price has come back in. There's the FEG in this area. It's tapped in, moved away, shut back off again, tapped into point of control. This is where price originally returned back to. This is the channel that we have right here. And this channel usually has a high probability or possibility of blasting upwards, right? This channel does that. So now that we've gotten this one out of the way, in terms of what price is doing now, my whole thing would be something like this. I am of the mindset that so long as price, although there is a possibility that it could push to the upside, I believe first things first, it's going to come into this zone, right? So I'm not going to make a big assumption and say it's going to go all the way here, because at the moment the whole behavior of this thing is in line with it coming down to about this zone right here, which is going to be on this trend line if it lands here somewhere, right? But at the same time, it could also push all the way up. As a matter of fact, let me get rid of this thing on here because it's not really necessary. It's actually been more of an annoyance than anything else. Right, so now we can see what price is actually doing. As it stands, this is the mindset that I'm thinking. I'm thinking price is going to maybe come back into the zone of 146.937. Okay, so that is the top side of the low volume node, right? And then once it's done that, I believe it could possibly bounce, or it could come a little bit lower. Now remember, this is the zone that we're looking to take our buys from, right? So that is the zone that we're looking to take our buys from. So let me just make this blue, because we talked about this in our last video, but I'm just bringing it to your attention again, right? And once again, that level in question is the buy zone area, which is here. That is 146.008, and then we have 144.025, and then the sell side, which is where price is. So price is in the middle right now. It could end up, it's closer to this side than it is to that side, but at the same time it could go there. It could actually do that. It could go there. So that level is 156.00 and 152.005, right? So these are the things of, this is what price could do. So with that said, we're going to jump back into the day, because this is where it looks the best. Let me get rid of these price points. We're going to keep this number there for now, because we might come back to this again, say maybe next week. Yep, we'll revisit that again next week, and then we'll see what has changed and what has remained the same. So with that said, the first thing I'm going to look at now is the Singaporean dollar versus JPY. So we're just going to create, we'll separate up the situation over here. Okay, so we have the Singaporean dollar right here, right? This is where we've got USDJPY, and what we're kind of seeing is there is a certain degree of correlation between these two currencies, right? There is a certain level of correlation. It's not a strong one, but it's kind of is there, right? Especially with what's going on in this area over here, we can see that kind of matches up. Do you know what I mean? So as it stands, first things first, let me have a look to see how far back this goes. Okay, so that's where we do it from. Okay, so making price comparison, they are both inside of the high value area of the volume profile, which is this area right here. Okay, we do have consolidation on the top side at the moment. Okay, that's this area right here, right? With the consolidation that we got on the top side, it's just done the consolidation side in this area up here, which is a low volume node area, okay, and which also happens to be under the value area high. Okay, so based on where this is right now, and it's moving away from this level, I'll be of the mindset that price is coming this way, right? That's how I would look at it, right? If I was to compare this with what's going on over here, that will give me the idea that price is also coming down on USDJPY. It's coming down that way as well. This is how I see it, right? Okay, so what are the things that will help me with this movement? Well, first things first, we have this low volume node in this area right here. Okay, so this is where I would want to see price reject from, right? So price can come all the way in, but I would want to see it reject in the sense that either it pushes up okay, which means it's going to keep going higher, right? Or it's going to break all the way down and make its way down to say 108.026, and this is a natural support level because of the low volume node sitting in that area. Just changing up these colors a bit, you know, just make it look a bit normal. Because sometimes these colors work well for me behind my screen, but however, it might not be working so well for you watching at home. So let me just make it all kind of stand out. Okay, so this is what we can see right now on USDJPY versus the Singapore dollar. Right, this is what we can see. Prices in this zone right here. I would expect it. Right, so I would expect price to kind of bounce from this level and push up. It's giving the signs up here that it wants to do that. It's giving the signs up here that it wants to do that. But whether it does or not, that is what is yet to be seen. Right, so in my mind, I'm like, okay, let's see what price is going to do. Let's see what price is going to do. Is it going to move away from this level or not? Or is it going to come deeper into this zone? Do you know what I mean? Which it could easily do. We could have this go on for a little while, for a good couple of days at least, right? So say you're shorting this whole thing, right? Your vibe would be to kind of work out where everything is going to be from two zones. You could use Fibonacci to help you with this, right? You could use the fib to help you with this, or you could just do it in the way that I'm doing it, which is just straight eyeballing it, right? Which is, you're going to use this, something like this, to help guide you in, right? So what you're trying to do in this situation, if you're planning on shorting this, right, is in this zone right here is your next entry, right? For a sell or a buy, no, for a sell, sorry, not for a buy, for a sell, right? In this thing over here is your next entry. And what you're basically looking for is you want to see price make its way down past this level that I've drawn here, okay, bounce off this trend line, shoot back up again, and begin to move away. Once you've seen that, you can then be like, okay, you want to join it with a little sell to ride it all the way down, and where you will have your TP at these levels, right? That's how you would do it. That's how I would do it. So for example, with this situation over here, right, this is how I would do it. I will lock that in. My stop will be the last day's high. So it will be the last day's high, which will be this right here. So that will be Tuesday's high, or Tuesday's high point of the wick. I will cover that as my stop, and then I'll see where this is going to go. If it's going to go past this low over here, which is 113.993, and if it does, my trailing stop immediately comes in, locks in right at this level. TP is on along the trend line somewhere, and if that's hit, that's hit. If trailing stop is hit, then trailing stop is hit, and then that's how I would do that. That's how I would do this right now if I was going to jump in. but I'm not jumping in, so I'm just sharing that with you, right? Okay, so now let's look at the Canadian dollar versus, so Canadian dollar JPY, right? So you might do this, you might not be doing it, right? But bottom line is, we always want to have a look to see the relationships between some of these pairs, right? So let's just see if I can find CADJPY. Here we are. And we can kind of see the correlation between USDJPY and CADJPY, right? We can kind of see that these are pretty much correlated, right? We're looking at the exact same thing, right? So first things first, let's have a look to see where I dropped my okay, so I dropped it back here. Okay, so we're in. We're gonna have a look to see what's happening. We have a low volume node right here. Okay, mate, this is I think you guys are gonna really like this video that we're about to do right now. Okay, so first things first, off the rip, once I put the volume profile on the Canadian dollar or Japanese yen, right, we can clearly see that price is now in a low volume node area, just like it is on the USDJPY. Okay, let me actually make that a little bit bigger, right? Only difference with USDJPY is that it's moved away from this low volume node area right here, and in CADJPY we can see prices actually in the low value node area, and it could do one or two things, which is either it goes through, comes back for a retest of this low volume node area, and then blasts off, right? It could do that, but it's in the zone. So at the moment right now, regardless of how this whole thing plays out, we'll be looking at retests. That'll be the game of this situation right now. It will all be based on retests, right? Because price is in the zone. So price is now in the zone. So all we can do is say this: if price closes above 106.934 and it comes back to retest that level again, we're looking for buys at that level, right? We're looking for buys at that level. If price closes below 105.935 and it comes back for a retest into that zone, we're looking for sells. It's that simple. It is that simple, right? So the correlation between these two is really, 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 really strong, right? So now I'm going to look at AUDJPY. AUDJPY. Let's have a look. And that too, the correlation there is extremely strong. We can actually see it. We can actually see the correlation, the strength of it, right? So we're just gonna, once again, just want to find out exactly where I dropped the profile. Okay. And what I want to do is I want to find out how far back it goes. So it's about here. Okay, great. Yep, we can do that. Yep. Okay. So now that we've dropped the profile on, So what this is kind of helping us do is paint a picture as to what is USDJPY actually doing, and is there a currency that's actually in front of it, right? So something to kind of tell us the future, right? Where we can be like, okay, is this going to move before this, right? So the first little indicator that we have is one thing that we can agree is that we've looked at the Singaporean dollar, we've looked at the Canadian dollar, and now we're looking at AUDJPY. And AUDJPY is the first one that we've come across right now, right? Where the price has gone through a low volume node area and it's on the other side. So therefore, it's creating the biggest sell signal out of all the ones we've looked at so far, right? If this is the one that's saying, hey, you could think about taking short positions, right? You could think about taking short positions. So this is it right here. So we've got a descending channel right now. Price is currently sitting at 95.028, right? That's where price is currently sitting at. What I'll be waiting for is a retest where price does what it's doing, finds its way back into this area again and starts to move away. This is what will tell me that at this level I could think about taking shorts, okay? And also, whilst you're looking at that level, whilst you're looking at, you could be keeping an eye what's going on in this area as well, because similar things is happening, right? Similar things is happening. So you want to take a look to see what is going on in this area also. I mean, with us, in terms of what we're looking for, our zones of entry is actually marked out, right? So let me just mark it out over here also. I'm just going to move this one to about here. So these are the zones that we're thinking about taking buys from. In this area right here, we're thinking this would be the best area to take buys from. But at the same time, depending on how it closes, we might want to wait and possibly grab it from down here, right? This is back to USDJPY, so just keep an eye on this cursor. As a matter of fact, let me make some changes. The crosshair, let's make that white. Yeah, at least then it pops. At least then it pops. So that's what we want to do. So as we can see on the Australian dollar and Japanese yen, we can see that price is basically now closed below. It could continue to fly down some more, and if it does, we'll keep an eye to see what's going on in this area, and chances are the downtrend would have started in this location first. And all we would really need to wait, and all we would need to do, or all we would need to wait and see, is what price does in this low volume node area. Okay, so where you see me with the price points, where these arrows are pointing to, right, the price points, that is possible zones that I would think about taking entry. But what you want to keep your eye on is what is happening in this zone right here. Okay, price comes in. If it starts moving away, then possibility it will start to happen in this area as well, where you will have a clear confirmation, because you will get a close above the low volume node at 96.360, right? And then you could then tap in and ride it to the upside. These are just opportunities that could just come our way, just based on the fact of what we currently see with USDJPY versus all the other assets that is correlated with, right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to look at other assets that it's not correlated with at all. It's correlated with, but in a negative way. So if it's going up on one side, it's going down on these ones also. So these are assets that are negatively correlated with USDJPY. Okay, so we've already done some work on this already, right? We've already done some work on this already, where I thought price was going to push up. We was looking at this in relation to how much this particular asset is correlated with gold, right? So that's what we was looking at, but obviously now we can look at it in conjunction with how it is negatively correlated with the USDJPY. Okay, so if we was to zoom in, the vibe that I'm getting off this particular asset right now, because this too is flying down, right? So they're both in a channel. This one's been in the bigger channel for a lot longer, but at the same time they are in the channel. We're looking at this on the daily time frame, and as we can see, price is breaking down, and as we can see on our New Zealand dollar USD, we can see that price too is breaking down, right? Now price is breaking down into a zone where it could bounce from. It's breaking down into a zone where it could actually bounce from, and this is this low volume node area right here. It could bounce from this area right here, and the area in question, we're looking at 0.58590, and we're looking at 0.57372. So in this area right here, this is where price is in, and price could bounce from this location. So what I'll be waiting to see if price begins to move away, right? So long as we have price in the zone, we know what to do. All we do now is wait to see what it's going to do, because remember, it could come as low as 0.57397, right? And at that point, it will still be in the framework of this particular channel over here. It will still be within the framework. We might need to adjust this one, this channel formation that we've laid down, but it will still be within the framework, which means if it does decide to push up away, this particular way of laying down the trend of the chart will actually assist us in the process of catching everything early, right? With catching everything early. This is what I think the opportunities with this situation right here is. Once we see that it is moving away and we get a close above 0.58618, I would say there is a high possibility that price will be pushing upwards some more, and we can either let price fly off and do nothing and wait for the retest and catch the retest, right? Or we can just get in at the very beginning of seeing price move away. But that is how I would play this game, right? And also as well, what happens in this area is if this is pushing up, that is coming down. And as we can see, based on the structures that we've laid in here, we have an ascending channel in this location, and we have a descending channel in this location. This is telling us it's going to break downwards. This is already breaking down, but it looks like it might want to do this, right? So these are the things that we've looked at. But however, time has kind of got away with us right now. I mean, it's almost 7 o'clock in the morning, so I'm going to need to wrap this video up. So with that said, guys, if you found the content that I've shared with you today useful, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification, and drop us a like. And I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Alright? So guys, see you on the next one.